Hi there, and welcome to the Freelancer to Remote Web Agency course. This course is in English, but if English isn't your first language, you should see an option somewhere on this video to change the language. YouTube has enabled auto dubbing on my channel recently, so you can follow along in your own language. Before we go any further, let me quickly tell you who this course is for and what you will actually learn. This course is for people who are already making money freelancing as solo freelancers, are web developers, though even if you are not, you can still apply the same principles to your niche. Have at least one long-term client and are spending at least 20 hours a week on client projects. If that doesn't describe you, I would recommend closing this video for now and working toward those criteria first. For example, if you are not earning from freelancing yet, check out my Upwork guide. It walks you through how to get started and how to land long-term clients. You will find everything there. But hey, if you still want to continue watching the course, I won't stop you. Feel free to stick around. Now, if you do match all the criteria, then congratulations, you are at a stage where it makes sense to start thinking about scaling. And that's probably why you are here, because you are already considering growing from a solo freelancer into an agency. In this course, we will focus specifically on building a remote agency. Why remote and not a physical office? Good question, and we will get into that later. So, what exactly are we going to learn in this course? We will cover why transitioning from freelancer to remote agency owner is worth it, how to plan your transition step by step, how to hire remote web developers, how to manage your remote team and overcome common challenges, and how to automate your remote web agency. This one is my favorite part. Now, who am I? If we haven't met, I am Faraz Ahmed, also known as Faraz the Web Guy. I have been freelancing on Upwork back when it was still called Odesk for the past 12 years. Upwork has featured me several times, from social media shoutouts to a TV commercial that aired in the US. I have also been teaching freelancing and web development for a while now. I have an Upwork guide where I have shared everything I have learned, and I have created a 25-hour Upwork course right here on this channel. Most of that content is in English though, so if you need something in English, definitely check out my Upwork guide. I worked solo for the first 8 years of my career, and then I shifted to a remote agency model. For the last 4 years, I've been working with a remote team, and it has been a fantastic experience. It helped me grow, it gave me more freedom, and now I want to share how it all worked out for me and how it can help you too. That's it for this video. Watch out for the next one coming next week, where we will talk about why transitioning from freelancer to remote agency owner is really worth it. Goodbye for now and have a great weekend. Hello there. Welcome back to the Freelancer to Remote Web Agency course. In this video, I am going to talk about why moving from being a freelancer to becoming a remote agency owner is worth it. Let me start by sharing what happened when I made the transition. My income per day naturally increased because I was able to deliver more work at a time by delegating the task to others instead of tackling each task at a time by myself. Delegating work to others can also give you more time to focus on sales and bring in more projects. And I am guessing that is your main goal, right? But let me tell you this, more income is just one part of the story. When you give work to your team, you get free time, and that time can be used in ways that make your life better. For example, you can finally spend time with family and friends and stop missing all the important gatherings. I missed almost every single family event because I was always stuck with work. I could not travel, I could not take breaks, I never went on vacation. I even had to work while I was sick because, as freelancers, we do not get sick leave or paid time off. You also get time to meet new people in your field. After I moved to the agency model, I had the time to network, and honestly, I have learned about things and technologies I would have never come across on my own. I even discovered that I was undercharging and undervaluing my skills. I found out that I was actually more skillful than I thought I was. So that's the power of networking. Another big thing is learning new skills. When you are overloaded with work, you barely have the energy to learn anything new. You just stay in your comfort zone, and that is dangerous, especially now with AI changing everything. You have to keep upgrading your skills, and for that, you need time and energy. Then there is personal branding. You want clients and opportunities to find you instead of you always reaching out to them. And that only happens when you start showing up. If you know my name, have seen me at events or podcasts, or come across my courses or books, that was only possible because I switched to an agency model. Otherwise, I would still be buried in client work with no time for any of this. You can even go back to your old dreams or focus on your hobbies. Since I was a kid, I wanted to create games, but I never had time for that because I was always buried in client work. After building a team and delegating my work, I finally got to work on that dream. If you want to try my games, here's the link. I would love your feedback. You can also take better care of your health. Most of us ignore that. We sit for hours chasing billable time, but it adds up. Over time, the stress hits you physically and mentally. I have been through that myself. So, what would you do if you had more time? Let me know in the comments. Now, let us talk about where you are right now. You are already freelancing, you have a steady income, you are working at least 20 hours a week, and you have at least one long term client. Maybe you still have time left in your day to relax or work on other things, and that is great. But here is what usually happens: your long term clients start to grow, their businesses expand, they begin asking for more time, more availability, and more support. But you only have 24 hours in a day. How many more hours can you really work? 8, 10, 12, 16? At some point, it becomes too much. You get burned out mentally and physically, your work will suffer, you will feel stuck, you stop learning, you stop creating, you stop dreaming, your health takes a hit, your schedule becomes hectic, and worst of all, you start resenting the work that once made you feel proud. That is what happened to me. So do not wait until it gets to that point. Do not delay the shift like I did. Start planning your move to a remote agency before you burn out. So that is it for this video. In the next one, we will talk about remote agencies and physical agencies and why I chose the remote path. See you in the next video. Welcome to another video in the Freelancer to Remote Web Agency course. In this video, we are going to talk about remote versus physical agencies and why I chose the remote part. When we go for a physical office, we need to rent an office space, buy equipment like laptops, desks, chairs, air conditioners, printers, stationery, kitchen appliances like coffee machines, and more. We also have to pay bills for internet, a backup connection, electricity, water, and the list goes on. And we have not even hired anyone yet or started making any money from the agency. Then comes the hiring part, and that is a big challenge on its own. The first challenge is finding good people. That is tough. If we are only going to If we are only looking to hire experts, then we will not find many in our area because most of them will already be working somewhere else because they are experts, right? Convincing them to join your new agency is another challenge, and then you need to meet their salary expectations, which might be outside your budget right now. But let us say someone does join you. But what if they stop showing up or switch to another company the next week? Or their work quality turns out worse than you expected? And what if all of that happens right in the middle of an important project? Then you would be forced to do the work yourself because finding someone else quickly will most likely not be possible. And let's talk about office politics. Team members trying to one up each other and forming groups inside the company, giving you another headache just to keep the team together. Some of them might even try to steal your clients. I have seen this happen far too often. I did on site jobs for 5 years before becoming a freelancer, after all. Of course, you can make strict rules and processes, but in the beginning, you cannot really do that. You are just starting out, and strict rules might scare away skilled people. Many of them look for flexibility and want to feel trusted. I know I would not work at a company with strict rules, even if those rules made sense. So, as you can see, there are way too many problems with starting a physical agency when you only have one long term client and limited income. It is just not worth the headache. Also, if you are introverted and lazy like me, you probably would not want to deal with all of that stress. So, for me, based on my personality, running a remote agency was the best choice, and I believe every solo freelancer should start with that instead of jumping straight into a physical office. Because with my remote agency, I do not need to one worry about hiring people. If I need someone qualified, it takes just a few hours to find and hire them. Two, I do not need to pay them a fixed salary or give them any benefits. I only pay them when they do the work. Three, I do not have to worry about bills. There are no expenses other than paying developers for the work they complete. 4. I do not have to worry about anyone stealing my clients. 5. I can replace them quickly and hire someone else if needed. So, how am I doing all of this? We will go through everything step by step, but before we get there, we need to talk about the mindset shift you have to make before starting your remote agency. And that's very important. So, in the next video, we will talk about that mindset shift. So, see you in the next one. Imagine this: a client gives you a small 5-minute task. It could be a text update on a website or perhaps adding a new image. Would you do it yourself or give it to a developer? Let's say you could finish it in 5 minutes, but sending it to a developer can take more time. For example, 5 minutes to create access for the developer, 10 minutes to write task instructions and send them in an email, 10 minutes for the developer to do the task and update you, 5 minutes for you to review it and update the client. So it is tempting to just do it yourself, isn't it? But when you are building your agency, you need to think long term, not short term. You cannot build an agency without delegating tasks. Now, let us talk about the long term impact. If you send this task to a developer instead of doing it yourself, the most important point is this: small tasks are an excellent way to judge a new developer's attention to detail. The tasks may look simple, but trust me, many developers make a mess of them. Some may not set the image width and height properly. Some may add extra space or above or below the content. And this instantly tells you how attentive the developer is to their work. It also shows you how quickly they complete tasks. If such a small task takes them 30 minutes, then they are not the developer we are looking for, and we can part ways quickly instead of wasting time. Now, let us say a developer follows all the instructions and completes the task without issues. Then that is someone we can work with for the long term. Here is the long term impact of delegating small tasks. You and the developer will understand each other better with every task. The developer will learn your way of working as they make mistakes and as you guide them. Over time, you will not have to explain everything in detail and you can simply forward the client's requirements as they are, and that saves you those 10 minutes. You will also gain confidence to assign midterm and long term projects. If the developer works on a site they have worked on before, you will not need to spend those 5 minutes setting up access again. Eventually, after testing their work for a while, you can update the client directly without you doing QA. And I have personally reached this stage. This is the exact process I followed when hiring and training new developers. Yes, it took a lot of time. Sometimes 1 hour task took 4 hours. I had to explain it, assign it, give them content and data, do QA, point out mistakes, and check revisions again. But now those same developers have been working with me for years. Most of the time, I simply forward an email from the client to the developer, and it takes me hardly a minute to assign a new task. So, how do you find such developers? That is easy. We will get to that. I will also show you my SOPs, job templates, interview questions, and everything else. But we will take it step by step. In the next lesson, we will focus on ourselves. We will decide what kind of agency owners or managers we want to be. We will put ourselves in the shoes of an employee and think about the kind of boss or manager we would like to work under. Once we decide that, we will shape ourselves into that role. I think this will be very interesting and will tell you a lot about yourself. So, see you in the next lesson. People leave managers, not companies. You have probably heard this quote before, and I truly believe it. So, what kind of manager do you want to become? So, your team does not leave you. Because let us be honest, hiring good people is hard, keeping them is even harder. Let us do a quick exercise. Imagine you are an employee working under someone. Take a pen and paper or open a document on your computer. Now, write this down. I want to work under someone who, and you have to write everything down, all the qualities of the person you want to work under. For example, I want to work under someone who pays me the market rate and does not lowball me, or I want to work under someone who does not send me urgent tasks all the time, or I want to work under someone who gives me flexibility to set my own working hours, or I want to work under someone who asks me for my preferred deadline instead of forcing one on me. Or let's say I want to work under someone who appreciates my work and gives me performance bonuses. That is the type of manager or client I want to work under, let's say. And this is exactly the type of manager you need to become if you want to attract people like yourself. Otherwise, if you do not treat the people you want to be treated the way you want to be treated, you would be a hypocrite, wouldn't you? Now, let us move to another important point. How much should you pay your developers? Let us say you get a project worth $1,000. How much of that should go to the developer? Remember, we are not putting them on fixed salaries. We are paying them per project. So, how much would you pay out of 1,000? I pay my developers between 60 and 70% of the project value. You may think that is too high because the margin feels small, but hear me out. As I said earlier, hiring is hard, but retention is harder. And when you move toward building an agency, your main goal is to free up your time. Time to make more sales, time to bring in more projects, or time to focus on your main goal in life without worrying about developers leaving in the middle of a project. Because if you pay developers really well and treat them better than anyone else, why would they leave? When they look at the market, they will see that nobody values them the way you do. And that makes them loyal to you and they will give you more value. Logical, right? I also give my developers quarterly bonuses or extra bonuses when they do exceptional work. It motivates them and it makes them feel appreciated. That is how I run my business because I believe in growth for everyone. Today, some of my developers have even started their own agencies after working with me for years. Pretty cool, right? I'm really proud of them. So, that is all for today. In the next lesson, we will talk about SOPs, Standard Operating Procedures. And I will also show you mine. Alright, let us talk about SOPs or Standard Operating Procedures. So, what is a standard operating procedure? A standard operating procedure is a set of step by step instructions for performing a repeatable task. It ensures that the task is performed the same way every time, leading to consistent quality and consistent results. So, what can be the repeatable task? Here are some examples. Number one, making a website live. What should be the pre and post steps we need to perform? Another task can be cleaning up malware from a website. What steps should we follow? Another task can be working on a new website. What steps should be performed first before even touching the code? SOPs can be written instructions or they can be videos showing how a specific task should be done. Why is creating SOPs important? It is important because you can train your developers very quickly by simply giving them the SOP document. It saves a lot of time when training a new developer and it decreases the chances of errors. Because instead of trying things their own way, they can follow your tried and tested method and uphold the quality of the project. Let me show you some of my own SOP documents. This is my SOP document that I send to every new developer. Backups are very important and I always stress that my developers take backups before starting to work on anything. Let's start with simple tasks before moving on to medium and large projects. This way I will know how you work and you will also know the kind of work I am looking for. Please note down the below when working on live online sites every day before starting work. If you are going to work on files, then you will download the latest files, create 2 copies, 1 copy to work with, another copy you will assign today's date and put it safely in a folder. For example, this is the structure you will use for the backups. Similarly, if you are working in the backend, you will first backup the database as per the attached screenshot. For WordPress sites, I use the Updraft Plus plugin to backup databases. Even if we are changing just one letter of code or content, we will still do the above at all costs. Better be safe than sorry. We will never touch the core plugin or theme files. We will either work in the child themes or use the customizer or theme options to add custom CSS, use snippets plugin to extend the functionality. If we must need to work with the core themes or plugins, then we will disable the updates using this plugin. We will test all the work done in incognito mode or private window because some websites will have cache plugins installed and we might forget to refresh the cache before handing in the work. Please read and acknowledge the above. So that's the first message I send to every new developer. And when they acknowledge it, I tell them to, when they are tracking time, please use their task name in the memo so I know what task you worked on so I can bill my clients accordingly. This is a reminder I send after a couple of weeks just to remind them about the backup thing. That when working in the backend, always keep the database backup first using the draft plugin with the attached options. Because sometimes some developers they forget. It happens. And this is another SOP document on the steps to follow when working on a new website, including pre and post launch steps. So these are pre-development steps: set up automated backups to backup the database every day, disable indexing, password protect the website, set up local external email delivery depending on the email hosting. These are the pre-launch steps. As you can see, backup website, refresh permalinks, replace dev links with live links, and everything else as you can see. Then these are the post-launch steps: Cloudflare setup, optimize images, CSS, cache, broken links check. And these are some more steps that we perform on some website depending on what is their speed score. And this is another SOP document to clean up malware on any website. These are the 16 steps I follow to clean up malware on any WordPress website, to be specific. So you just need to identify the tasks that you perform frequently, then create a text document or a video, whichever you prefer, showing exactly how the task should be done. That way you can send it to a developer and they can perform the task exactly how you would do it. It is that simple. And it gives you peace of mind knowing that a developer has followed your process and the quality of work will be consistent. In the next lesson, we will write our first job description to hire our first developer. So see you in the next one. Alright, let us write our first job description. But before we do that, we need to list down all the tasks that we frequently work with. Do we work more on new website builds? Do we work on bug fixing? Do we work more on custom theme development? Do we work more on speed optimization tasks? So basically, we need to list every type of task that clients send our way. Then arrange them by frequency. Because in the beginning, we will focus on hiring specialists, not generalists. We also need to list down the skills that developers should have, including other requirements like our preferred working time zone. Let me show you one of my job descriptions. So this is one of the job descriptions that I posted. Need a WordPress plus PHP developer for a long-term position. So I was looking for a developer who knew WordPress, but he was also a PHP developer. And basically, I was looking for someone who can work on custom theme development and who can extend features of existing themes and plugins. I wasn't looking for someone who is a front end developer. So here, as you can see, I wrote that you won't be creating any HTML from scratch, but you should have an adequate knowledge of HTML, CSS, and jQuery to work on the existing code. Please do not apply if you are a front-end developer with some knowledge of PHP, because most of the work will demand back-end programming and not front-end programming. So I was looking for a PHP developer who also knew WordPress. And these were my other requirements. So even you were a good PHP developer who was also a WordPress developer, but if you didn't cover these requirements, then I wasn't going to hire you. So my other requirements were ability to communicate clearly, dedication to meet project deadlines in a timely manner. Right, I am a human at the top of your proposal. So this way I know that you have read my complete job description, because most of the freelancers, they quickly send proposals, they don't read the job description completely, they don't understand the job, and they just quickly apply as soon as the job is posted. So they think that if we post quickly, then the client will see our proposal and they will respond to us. But again, if your proposal is not good, if you have not followed the instructions, it doesn't matter if you post quickly or late, uh, client is not going to work with you. So this was one line that the freelancer needed to write at the top of the proposal for me to notice your proposal. Attention to details. Again, if you can do this, it means that the freelancer is attentive to details, and that kind of developer we need, right? Who's attentive to details. And I also needed someone who can respond me quickly in within 12 hours. So these were my requirements. But first, you must be thinking, where will we post the job? Now we are getting to the important part. We will not hire anyone from local job boards or directly. We will hire only through a freelance marketplace like Upwork. Why a freelance platform, you might ask? Well, there are many reasons. For example, we are not bound to local talent only. The whole world's talent is within our reach. We will never have a problem finding someone who matches our requirements. We can quickly hire, test, and fire people if needed. Because when people work through freelancing platforms, they behave professionally. The same people, if you work with them outside the platform, may not act that way. They may miss deadlines, give excuses, or show a laid back attitude because there is no system watching over them, and they can get away without any consequences. But when those same people work through a freelancing platform, everything changes. Suddenly, they become very professional, deadlines start to matter, updates start to matter, they update clients frequently, and they don't ghost the clients, and they give their best effort to deliver quality work. uh, why they do that? Because there is a system over them, and they know that if a client is dissatisfied, a bad review can hurt their freelancing career on that platform. This is why I always hire developers from Upwork. I'm not bound to any one country. I can hire from anywhere. And even if I hire someone local, they must still have an Upwork account. I will only hire them through Upwork. Unlike direct hiring, where you need resumes and interviews, here I can just look at the developer's history on Upwork. If they are top rated, have worked at least 1,000 hours, and earned at least $10,000 minimum, that will be my preference. Because these numbers show consistency, quality, and dedication. And that is the kind of developer we need, isn't it? So go ahead and post your first job. In the next lesson, I will show you the exact questions I ask developers who apply and how I make my hiring decisions. So you posted a job and the proposals started to come in. You liked some proposals and you shortlisted them. Now, what should be the next steps? How do we decide which developer to hire? This is the message I send to all the developers that I shortlist. Thanks for your interest. This is a long-term opportunity which will keep you busy, as I have multiple PHP WordPress tasks coming every day. To proceed, could you look at the following simple problems? I will consider you if you are able to solve any 4 out of 6 precisely with the clean code. Number 1, create a function called reverse in PHP which takes a string as an input and returns the reversed string as output without using a built-in function. Write a PHP code which prints you are a new visitor. When I refresh it from the browser, it should say you have come here one time before. On second refresh, it should say you have come here two times before, and so on. Number 3, hide.php extension with URL rewriting using htaccess. Example, if I browse test.html, it should open test.php, but in the browser, it should show test.html. In WordPress, I want to add some text after every post content without editing the post. Which filter will I use? In WordPress, write a custom WP query to fetch all the posts sorted alphabetically by title. Given the following HTML code, how will I center the items inside the yellow box both horizontally and vertically? The questions cover PHP, WordPress, HTML, and CSS. Some of these questions are from my first job interview more than a decade ago, by the way. So I asked them these questions, and they are very easy questions to be honest. An expert developer should answer within 10 minutes. And it is fine if they use AI, because what I'm looking for are solution oriented developers. Now, many developers will see these questions and say, no, I do not have time for this. And that is fine. We do not need developers who are already too busy. We need developers who are available and willing to take a long term opportunity. These developers will definitely attempt the questions. So once a developer answers the questions correctly, I move to these follow up questions. What are your preferred work timings? Are you a morning person or a night person? Can you give minimum 10 hours per week in the start? Can you respond to any query question within 12 hours? Are you an individual freelancer or do you work with a team? By the way, I do not work with teams. I only work with individuals. I do not prefer working with teams. I had terrible experience working with teams, even though we are making a team here. But since we are technical ourselves, and usually when you hire a team, the person you are in contact with, they are not very technical. They are project managers or they are business developers, and usually those guys are not very technical. But in this case, you are a technical person, so you are not going to make the mistakes that they do. Are you doing a full-time job right now? Do you use Windows or Mac for development? How do you test on mobile devices? So I ask these questions to judge if they are the right fit for me and also to check their communication skills. After the complete interview process, I hire my ideal developer. But here is one important thing. You are not going to hire just one developer. Even if you do not have enough work for multiple developers, at least hire 3 in the beginning. Remember, you are not paying them monthly salaries, you are paying them per project. So let us say one developer does not perform the way you expected, you can release them and immediately give the work to the second developer. Or if one developer is busy, sick, or unavailable, you can rely on the second developer. And when a lot of work comes in at the same time, you can distribute it among all of them. And keep hiring more developers as your client pipeline grows. If you feel you have hired enough developers, hire more anyway. Always have some extra developers on the side so you can utilize them if your main team becomes inactive. In the next lesson, we will talk about what to do after hiring, what kind of tasks to give to developers, and how to manage them in the start. So now you have built your team. Congratulations. But what should you do next? How do you assign them tasks? Here is what I suggest. In the first 3 months, assign them small tasks that can be completed within an hour. Do not give them full projects from start to finish. Break down the project and assign them smaller milestones. But at the beginning, give them tasks that you have already done and ask them to complete those tasks on a test website. Do not assign live client projects or provide live client access right away. This approach will tell you two important things about them. First, how quickly they complete the task. If it took you 1 hour, did they take more or less time? If someone takes 2 hours for a 10-minute task, that is a red flag. For example, one of my hires took 4 hours just to change a banner, and I had to release him. And you should also release such developers. Do not waste time trying to educate them. Remember, you will not succeed with every hire, and that is normal. My first 3 hires were failures, by the way. Second, you will see how attentive to details they are. If you ask them to update an image, do they maintain the aspect ratio? Do they resize a large image before uploading it, even if you did not mention it? If they are not attentive or proactive, they are not the right fit either. So, by giving them smaller tasks, you will know whether they are suited for the long term. If you decide to keep working with them, continue assigning small tasks for the first 3 months. This will test their reliability, consistency, and communication. After 3 months, if you like working with them, start sending mid sized projects. Keep testing them for another 3 months to see how they handle bigger responsibilities. If after 6 months they continue to deliver quality work with consistency, you have found a gem. You can now trust them with long term projects and more responsibility. At that point, take extra care to keep them happy and motivated, not just with words but also with performance bonuses. In the beginning, it will take time to assign work, explain tasks, and check quality, but this is all part of building a great team. And you must be patient and stick with the process no matter the setbacks. Give yourself at least 1 year. If you follow everything I have taught in these lessons, you will build a strong team and you will no longer need to micromanage. That will save you time to focus on expanding your business or on anything else you want to do. So that is all there is to it. Congratulations for sticking with me until the end. In the next video, I will tell you what to do after establishing your remote agency. And then we will part ways. Congratulations, you are now an agency owner. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a few important points. At the beginning, things may feel a little strange as you are building your team and assigning them work. Because as a freelancer, you are used to working long hours every day. But now, it might only take you an hour in the morning to assign tasks to your developers and another hour in the evening to review their work. That shift can feel uncomfortable. You may even feel empty or anxious because most of your day is suddenly free. And there will be times when you feel the urge to do small tasks yourself. But you must control that urge. Remind yourself that you are building a team and delegating is part of the process. Learn to use your free time productively. Focus on business development, your personal projects, your health, reading, or increasing your knowledge. Do not spend your time wandering without purpose. It may take a while to adjust to this new routine, but once you see how much freedom delegation gives you, you will start to truly enjoy the process. Later, you can even hire a manager to oversee everything. They can act as a messenger between clients and developers. One of your senior developers might even grow into that role. And when your income becomes stable and predictable, you may choose to open an on site agency. You can hire full time employees, pay them in local currency to reduce costs, and run a hybrid model. Or you may decide to use that free time to build products while your service business covers your expenses. The possibilities are endless. I wish you the very best of luck and I hope to see you another video series soon. And if you still have questions about running remote agencies, you can book a consultation with me. You will find a link in the video description along with many of my free resources. See you soon.